Hi, I'm Bonna Heinzen with the Cook County Farm Bureau, hidden behind a dark screen today. But I'm here with Janet McCabe, president of the Cook County Farm Bureau and also chair of the Cook County Farm Bureau Political Action Committee, which is a separate entity from the Farm Bureau. And Janet and I are going to talk a little bit about that entity. Janet, can you tell us a little bit about the PAC, please?
Sure. We started it in 2010. We felt it was a need that the Farm Bureau had with countywide districts, countywide offices that were being elected to, and also districts that have farm ground in them. We just felt we needed more of an impact as far as than just what the Farm Bureau could do as far as influencing, or at least, showing who we would like to see elected.
Janet, when you say make an impact on everything, how do you guys do that? Do you make endorsements? Do you do contributions? Do you educate? What is your typical process that you take during an election?
Sure. We start with the primary elections, and we look at obviously where there's contested elections. If somebody doesn't have a running partner, so to speak, we don't usually interview those, but we do definitely interview contested races, and we also try to interview for sure the districts that have farm ground as far as the commissioners go. We meet as a group, we determine who we're going to interview, and then Bonna sends out invitations to the candidates. Some years we have better luck with getting most of the candidates. Some years some don't respond, but we interview whoever does respond. And then we try to meet in a, we've met downtown at restaurants, we've met at the Farm Bureau building, we've met in office buildings. We just try to get a centralized location, and we've done Zoom obviously the last couple of years with COVID and stuff, and we're not averse to that, although we really do prefer in-person interviewing and stuff. We have a score sheet that has 10 items listed on it, and then everybody, each of the interviewers from the PAC can score how they feel they want to score those 10. So the top 2 are 20 points, the second 2 are 15, the 5th and 6th are 10, and then the last 2 are 5 points. So that's up to every individual what they feel of the 10 items, which are like character, knowledge of the Farm Bureau, their philosophy, intelligence, demeanor, experience, and then record with the Farm Bureau if they are an incumbent running, and their communication skills. And then everybody does that on a scale of what they feel is more important. But then the important thing is that everybody keeps that same scoring system throughout their thing. So even though myself and the next person in the PAC might have a different scoring system, it's consistent with each candidate how we score. So it's not changing. You're not changing up what you think, like say intelligence is your top priority. You're not changing that to knowledge of the Farm Bureau on the next candidate. Everything stays the same. So we interview people for about 45 minutes. We try very, very hard to ask the same questions to each candidate so that you're comparing apples to apples. Sometimes, obviously, if they're an incumbent or if they're in a district that maybe has farming and an office that doesn't, some of the questions might change a little bit depending on the interaction, but we really do try to keep questions consistent across the board so that everybody's getting asked the same thing so that you can score fairly. So we do those interviews. They usually last about a week. It's sort of hardcore week. We try and get everybody done. Then we meet again as a group and go over, we set a minimum number of a percentage of what they have to meet to be able to even be endorsed, even be into a conversation to be endorsed. And then we meet as a group, and if several candidates have met that number, then we just talk amongst ourselves and decide what it is that if somebody's maybe in that district, they have a little more, input into what they would like to see in their district, or if it's a district that a farmer isn't in that's on the PAC and stuff, then we just sort of, talk it out amongst ourselves and stuff. So we have that whole conversation of who we're going to endorse. We're not party driven. We interview everybody that's running, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Green, Libertarian, however, whoever's running and accepts the invitation to interview, we interview and evaluate on their merits regarding our scoring system and the benchmark that we've set. So we have that whole conversation and we go through every race and decide if we're going to endorse anybody. So then once that whole conversation is done and we've decided who we're endorsing, if we're endorsing any, we've had years where people have met and we just have chosen not to endorse anybody. So it's not a given. It's not saying that we have to endorse somebody every year. Then we go back through and we have the conversation if we're going to contribute. Obviously, with all the limitations on that, we're very much keep to that with the PAC guidelines and stuff. But then we decide if people are going to. Now, we've also endorsed people in the past and not contributed to their campaign and stuff. But then that's a whole separate. We don't stop after you endorse somebody and then talk contribution. We have go through the whole endorsement conversation, and then we go back and have the contribution conversation. And then as far as educating, we try to, we get it out into our cooperator, which is our monthly publication. It goes on Facebook, and then most of the PAC people either put it up on their own Twitter, Facebook page, or at least are, very vocal about who they would, who we endorse and would like other people to think about.
Perfect. You answered one of the questions I was going to ask, and it was the candidate dependent. And I'm just going to reiterate what you said. Cook County Farm Bureau PAC is not partisan. We interview Republican, Democrat, Green, Libertarian, Independent. And I'm thinking of some years where we've spent quite a lot of time interviewing Green candidates. Also, one thing I wanted to ask you is, of the candidates that you've interviewed, is there any office that you don't recall interviewing? Or have you interviewed candidates for every office with the exception of judges?
I believe we have, other than if there's a commissioner that totally has nothing to do with ag, then I don't think we have. You would probably remember more than I, but I don't know if we actually interviewed every commissioner.
I'm not in my head. Because even
okay.
I can remember, I'm not in my head, Jess, because we have interviewed for every office.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about from, if we go back into the history of the PAC, the first year that that President Preckwinkle ran, we interviewed in that race and interviewed her. We have interviewed for the sheriff's position. We've interviewed for clerk of the circuit court numerous times. Right. State's attorney numerous times. So, yeah, I am not, except for those seats that do not have farmland, like you said, I believe we have interviewed in every race, every position that's available in Cook County. Now, there is one exception to the no farmland rule, and I'm just going to bring that up right quick, is if we have a race where it is an open seat, so the incumbent commissioner is not running for re-election, we will interview regardless if that seat has farmland. And the whole goal with that is to build awareness of the Farm Bureau and to start a relationship as early as possible. And I'm thinking of the first district is a great example of that. When Commissioner Collins did not run for re-election, we interviewed in that position. And if I remember correct, there were numerous candidates that first year we interviewed. So Janet, I want to thank you for spending a couple of minutes talking about our PAC. You and I both believe very firmly that the PAC is a very important tool in our government relations toolbox. And I truly appreciate the time that our members take for it and the interest that our PAC Governance Committee especially has shown to the process and to making those endorsements. If anyone is interested in learning more about the PAC, please visit our website at www.cookcfb.org. Thank you very much.